to Weekly World News on Spring Nectar TV, brought to you by Vibha Ramesh, Los Angeles, United States. First, the top headlines. Plea to block Texas abortion ban. Colin Powell dies at 87. New Zealand steps into lockdown again. Offshoot of Delta variant on the rise in England. Some parts of India severely affected by rain floods. Facebook's metaverse plans to create jobs in European Union. Moving on to news in detail. Former U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell passed away on Monday at the age of 87. The retired four-star general was best known for his crucial role in the justification of the invasion of Iraq in 2003. According to sources, he died due to complications caused by COVID-19. Although fully vaccinated, he was immunocompromised from the treatment of blood cancer. President Biden and the First Lady passed on their condolences in a statement that read, "Deeply saddened by the passing of our dear friend and a patriot of unmatched honor and dignity." Meanwhile, the infamous abortion law that came into effect in September in Texas may have a chance of being reversed. To this effect, the Biden administration has appealed to the Supreme Court to block the ban which prohibits abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy. In its plea, the U.S. Justice Department had highlighted how the Texas ban defies the Supreme Court's decision on abortion rights and had written, "The question now is whether Texas' nullification of this court's precedents should be allowed to continue while the courts consider the United States suit." And on Tuesday, Steve Bannon was unanimously recommended for criminal prosecution by the House Select Committee that is investigating the Capitol attack. The former chief strategist and Trump's aide was known to have resisted a subpoena. In the words of Benny Thompson, the chairman of the Select Committee, "It is essential that we get Mr. Bannon's factual and complete testimony in order to get a full accounting of the violence of January 6th and its causes. Mr. Bannon will comply with our investigation or he will face the consequences. We cannot allow anyone to stand in the way of the Select Committee as we work to get to the facts. The stakes are too high." Over to New Zealand. Despite hitting 70% vaccination, the nation's major city, Auckland, will continue to stay in lockdown for another 2 weeks. The order was issued by Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern after experts showed concern over the risk of prematurely stepping out of lockdown. She has not disclosed when the restrictions would be eased. She said that if we get this right, if we keep case numbers low while we vaccinate people, then it makes it easier for us to keep control of COVID while we ease restrictions in the future, and that is everyone's goal. As per latest statistics, nearly 90% of Auckland's population has had at least one shot, and 70% are fully vaccinated. And in the United Kingdom, cases of coronavirus are still on the high, with the latest report stating its highest number of fatalities for 7 months in a row. It has also been noted that the death rate is higher on Tuesdays due to the weekend effect that creates a lag in reporting. Moreover, an offshoot of the Delta variant was recently detected in England and is believed to be on the rise. Named AY42, this Delta sublineage contains 2 mutations. According to Ravi Gupta, professor of clinical microbiology at the University of Cambridge, one of the mutations doesn't have a really large effect on the virus. He also said we need to look further at what the non-spike mutations are. Moving on to India, heavy rains, floods, and landslides in the coastal state of Kerala have killed at least 27 people. Residents were left without power as rain started lashing last Friday. The rains also brought with it landslides that prompted the deployment of Army, Navy, and Air Force personnel who flew in emergency supplies as well as assisted with the rescue operations. According to the latest sources, over 1,000 people were evacuated and 100 relief camps set up. A similar situation was faced by the residents of Uttarakhand as rain-triggered landslides killed at least 46 people. The incident has been rated as one of the most intense and dangerous rain-related mishaps. 11 people are missing and rescue and search operations are underway. News about the COVID vaccination status has it that India is all set to hit a milestone mark of vaccinating over 1 billion people against the deadly virus. The information was shared by Bharati Pawar, Union Minister of State for Health, at a press conference where she remarked, "Apart from tackling the pandemic, the focus of the government is on vaccine production. A budget of Rs 35,000 crore is set aside for this purpose. The country will soon create history by achieving the target of vaccinating over 100 crore people against COVID-19. Moving on, Facebook is all set to build a metaverse, also known as virtual universe, thereby paving the way for nearly 10,000 job openings in the European Union, with specific focus in countries like Germany, Poland, Netherlands, France, Spain, Italy, and Ireland. As part of its next step towards planned growth, Facebook announced its investment of $50 million in the Metaverse project. As the world of technology expands and becomes an inevitable part of our lifestyle, Metaverse or Meta World will be the next big advancement. Metaverse is a virtual world in which people lead their professional and social lives in a virtual space. The key enablers of the virtual space would include VR or virtual reality headsets and AR or augmented reality. Here's what Nick Clegg, Vice President of Facebook, said during the announcement. "So today we're announcing a plan to create 10,000 new high-skilled jobs within the European Union over the next 5 years. This investment is a vote of confidence in the strength of the European tech industry and the potential of European tech talent." Meanwhile, the former UN Secretary General has requested leaders of China and the United States to meet before the COP26 summit and find a common ground to work together. Voicing his opinion along with that of other prominent global leaders, he said, "We're appealing to the leaders of the US and China to see their common interest and find a way to work together. We need an ambitious 2030 target from China and the US to deliver what they had pledged." He also said that Biden and Xi need to do what they used to do with Obama. The Paris Agreement might not have been possible without these two countries. "We must do everything possible. COP26 will be one of the most important in history." Moving on to Brazil, a Senate inquiry into the COVID crisis and its mismanagement has resulted in a 1,080-page report. The draft is yet to be modified before it is due for voting by the Commission. The report details the intentional negligence and incompetence of President Bolsonaro that led to the death of over 600,000 Brazilians. Citing his decision to delay the purchase of COVID vaccines as deliberate and conscious, the draft has recommended murder charges for Bolsonaro's complete mismanagement of the crisis. An excerpt from the report read, "The mathematics of the situation was clear. The more infections, the more death. Without vaccines, mortality would have been stratospheric, as it turned out to be." And here's the latest from the World Health Organization. Emergency Director Mike Ryan has warned of the serious consequences of indoor socializing. His words, as stated at a press conference, "Most of those restrictions are now not in place anymore in many countries. And we're seeing that coincide with the winter period in which people are moving inside as the cold snaps appear. The question remains as to whether or not we will have the same experience as last year, with health systems coming once again under pressure." That brings us to this week's Did You Know? Did you know there is a museum of toilets? Well, news to me too. Sulabh International Museum of Toilets resides in New Delhi, India. The museum does not simply feature different types of toilets, but showcases the evolution of toilets starting from 2500 BC to today. This rare collection helps visitors learn more about the plumbing system, sanitary conditions, and toilet etiquette that existed in ancient societies. It also displays toilet furniture, water closets, and other accessories. What's more, this unique museum won the Expert's Choice Award in 2019. That'll be all in this week's news report. I'll see you again next week with more world news on Spring Nectar TV. Stay safe.